Hello, friends. This is me again, coming to you from here. I just received something and I decided to speak about it. And it has to do with the subject of fear, human fear. And by this, of course, you understand what I mean by what the normal person can say that he is afraid, maybe afraid of something, afraid of situations, and afraid of a lot of other things that constitute what makes up the fear of man. And this fear for me is an emotional experience. It's not something that you can specifically define, but it's an emotional experience that is personal to whoever is experiencing such emotions. And this fear of man and the beautiful woman, by man I mean the rest of the whole of humanity, of course, you understand. So I this fear of man, it can be classified in many ways, one of which is the fear of not being able to meet up with the requirements of the systems of this world. Such systems that has in the past, or have in the past, been subjecting humanity to a certain level of control that deprives one of being able to be comfortable enough to think of his or her spirituality. This is, I believe, part of the root causes of this in the physical, but in the spiritual, it has to do with human ego. Human ego is a subject that I have treated, briefly recently, and of course, we are coming back to that. But if you look deeply, you will understand that human ego, defined as the act of deriving pleasure at the expense of others, you know, this is what it means to derive ego or pleasure or enjoyment at the expense of others without most times even knowing that that's what we're doing. Because as humans, the seeds that we received are egoistic in nature, which makes us vessels of reception. So we are here to receive pleasure, and through our normal instincts, which we have in common with animals, through our desires for for control on the higher level, for control, for money, for recognition, and for power, and for knowledge, and a lot of other things. But on the animal level, as desires for food, for family, for sex, and for shelter. So now these egoistic nature of our understanding of life, and which we are not to be blamed for it because it's what we are. But then the issue is that we need to be able to transcend this egoistic nature of us, which is the root cause of human fears. Instead of doing that, we find ourselves resorting to our intellectual, interpretations of even emotional things like fear. And this egoistic nature of us have in the very long time developed into the disunity and the chaos we have in the world today. Because I believe that the spiritual realm controls the physical. It is the root. It is the cause and effect. So we cause these things through our emotions, and this fear come in different forms. Fear of what people would say about what my life is like, or my intentions, or fear of death, fear of lack, fear of loss of loved ones. So many fears, the list are endless. And these fears has made it possible that man is not able to see beyond this flesh and this our intellect to key into the greed of ethereal happening, which is of the spiritual nature. And man, anchoring on the earth as a spirit that is eternal, has no reason to allow the desires of his instincts, five senses, to block the development of the sixth sense in order for him to see beyond the material world and this dimension. So it is something that we must come to understand, that coming out of this will take for love to reign in our lives, for us to see ourselves as the equal human beings that we are. Otherwise, we will be afraid of one thing or the other because the next person has this egoistic, upbringing, egoistic nature embedded in him, and it is just clashing here and there through cultures, through a lot of things. So it's a situation that is almost irreparable, but we have discovered that the solution to this is through the love of friends, love of your fellow person as yourself. So this is the only way we can end fear. Because if you love me, I love you, and everybody loves everybody, then we will be able to have access to human basic needs and understand that this flesh and all the resources that man has created through systems are just of this flesh. That is, if you take, for example, the lives of a rich person and a poor person, when their lives end, and for example, they die the same day, with all the riches that the human body acquired through his intellect, through his, whatever, and they are buried on the same day, after some time, go and dig them up. You will see only skeletons, of course, and you will not even recognize who they are. And what happens to all those riches that we acquire and all those egoistic pleasures that we receive through at the expense of others? Now, what is it worth? And the next person inheriting such will come to the same end at some day. But the issue is that our souls, our beings are not destroyed. They continue to come back and go back, come back and start afresh until such a time when they come to this understanding and see that love is the only thing that can lead humanity out of this blind game of existence. It is a subject that I am ready to come back to, because right now I am not fully in the position to do justice to all the things I have in mind. But I will come back to this subject sometime in the future. Forgive me, it's only my starting. I am just starting, inspired through sources that are so marvelous that they will become part of my testimonial sometime in the future. But forgive me if it is not as you expect, but I am going to keep improving, and I'm going to do this all the time, because this is the only thing I have as passion, writing and speaking to humanity in my own way of understanding of the true meaning of life and the purpose of it in existence. Well, I will come back to you again as soon as I can. I thank you all for listening. I will make a prayer for us all, and I say, may the light of the Lord that surrounds and sustains be with you all as you go through your day and through your weeks and through your times until I come back to you again. Thank you so much. This is Mike Mbadiwe of the Life Goal Solutions, coming to you from here. From me and from here, it's good evening. Thank you. Bye, friends.